Hi friends, Kim from Stamping Imperfection. Welcome to the Scrapbook Pal YouTube channel. If you're new here, we would love to have you click subscribe and click that bell to get notifications every time one of us uploads a new video. So today I am going to play with this adorable Lawn Fawn new release, and this is called Ugly and Bright. And look at all these. You get three cute critters, some holiday hats, some really ugly sweaters, lots of sentiments, little tiny sentiments you can put on those sweaters and in that thought bubble, so you can really create some unique cards. And of course it has a coordinating die set to make it easier to play with. I also picked up this Frosty stamp and die set also from Lawn Fawn. I was thinking that this would make a great background for a holiday card set, so I have that. I didn't end up using it today because I also decided I had to have this 6x6 pattern paper pack from Lawn Fawn. This is their Let It Shine Starry Skies paper pack, and you can see some of the papers have gold or silver foil details, some have white details, and the colors of the papers are so pretty. I decided that I would need some sequins, of course, so I picked up these Spellbinders. These are the color essential sequins. I got the silver smooth disc, the gold smooth disc, and the iridescent. So I will be playing with some of these goodies today. So I started out by stamping all of the sweaters, the hats, all of the images basically in this stamp set. I just stuck everything in my MISTI. I pulled out this Honeybee Stamps Intense Black ink that I got from Scrapbook Pal. I really like this ink because I'm going to use my Copic colors to color these in, and this is a very Copic marker friendly ink, and if you have some other alcohol marker, that will work with this also. So I stamped all of them, and then I color things very simply. These are tiny little things. I don't need to be too fussy about my coloring, so I will pull out three shades of a color. So here I'm using red. I have a dark, a medium, and a light. And I just color it in really quickly. I do the dark around the outside edges, and then I do the medium and the light in the center. And here I pulled out some neutral grays. I have a couple of light neutral grays and a couple of darker ones. This is like N1 and N3, and then 8 and N6, I believe. So I just do the belts and the collar of the sweater, and I just think these little sweaters are so cute. They're so ugly, they actually are cute. So I went ahead and I colored all of the sweaters in, and I pulled out 3 greens, 3 blues, and I just colored the sweaters in. And I went ahead and I'll die cut those out after I have all the critters done as well. So here I do the critters the same way, and I have, in this case, I pulled out E39, E35, E34, and E31. I use 4 colors because these are a little bigger, so I have a little more space to do some coloring. So again, I do the darkest one all around the outside, and then I take the next one and go over the one I just did and make it a little wider, and I keep widening it till I fill in the whole thing. And I feel like this is enough coloring on images this small that I've got some shading in there, and I haven't had to do a really fussy job of it. I didn't need to be a coloring expert to color this in, but to make it look like I shaded it. So I like to keep it really simple. I want my coloring to be relaxing when I do it. It's like one of the things I love to do to relax. Coloring and watercoloring. So after I got everything all colored in, I went ahead and pulled out those little tiny sentiments with one of my clear blocks, and I stamped one in one of the sweaters there that didn't have anything on it and in the thought bubble, and then I used my wire cutters to separate the dies, and I went ahead and then I used my Spellbinders Best Ever craft tape to tape those dies down and I ran them through my machine. So I also pulled out some stitched hillside dies. Scrapbook Pal has a lot of different like hillside or snowbank dies that you can use to create hills and stuff. And I like to just add a little snowbank detail, and that makes it so easy. I also pulled out from my stash the Spellbinders. These are the Spellbinders layering mini slimline dies. And here I picked the largest slimline die, and then I skipped one and picked the third one. And I'll have a nice mat to use on another card, but I have a nice frame for this card. I also used the third die, the smaller of the two dies that I used, to cut out a mat from that darker blue pattern paper pack that I got here from Lawn Fawn, the Starry Skies. And I'm going to build a little scene with all of these. And I decided that I'm going to make two cards here. So I pulled out this Honeybee Stamps. This is the Bee and Flowers wreath frame cuts. And the only thing I wanted from that was that hexagon die. And I used it to cut a window out of a piece of white cardstock that I cut down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Actually, I cut it down to 4 by 5 1/4. And I've also created a card base for this mini slimline here. And I'm going to build this one first. So the card base is 7 by 6 1/2. And I scored and folded it at 3 1/2. And then now ordinarily I would put the pattern paper down first, but on this one I put the frame down first because I know that pattern paper is cut to fit right on the inside of this frame because I used the smaller of the two frame dies for that mat on the inside, so I can just plunk this down inside. And you can see I'm just using my favorite glue tubes. I love these glue tubes. They're inexpensive and they last for months. I make a lot of cards and these glue tubes last for months. And Scrapbook Pal has a variety of different liquid adhesives that you can pick from. And you'll find something that you'll love, and then you'll try something else, and you'll love that. So I took one of those snowbanks that I created, and I decided to really trim it down because it was a little too fat. And so I'm just going to fit it in. I'm going to trim it down widthwise and lengthwise so it fits into the opening there. So I'm just kind of measuring against the ruler on the trimmer there, and I'm going to just cut this down so I can just glue it right inside that frame, and I'll have a nice little snowbank with a really pretty starry sky. And I have to be honest, that was not too much effort, so it turns out kind of cute. So I place everything down and decide who's going to wear which sweater and who's going to stand in which spot. And I realized that as I was doing this, that I liked the sweaters glued to the critters, and then I put some foam on the back of the critters to give them a little bit more dimension. I added a couple of hats there. I added that little thought bubble that says Merry Christmas. There's so many different choices you can put in the thought bubbles. And these are the scrapbook adhesives. These are the mini squares. I like this size a lot. You can see I have a bunch of different sizes there. They just all fell out of my organizer in front of me. And again, I just glued those sweaters on. So I think this is so much fun. I love building the little scenes. The coloring is so relaxing, and I love building the little scenes. I just think they're just fun. And it's fun to see the different things you can create with the same stamp set. Like you can just create different little scenes on every card, depending on how you color them in and how you arrange them and what other dies you have in your stash that you pull out. That's the beauty of scene cards. Like you can have snowbanks or grassy knolls or, whatever it is you're interested in. So you can see I stamped all of the sentiments. Then I used my sentiment strip dies, by the way, and cut those out. And here are the These are the gold smooth discs. These are, remember, the Color Essential sequins from Spellbinders. And they were on sale, so of course I had to browse through them and pick 3 different ones that I loved. But this particular pattern paper has gold stars, so I added the gold sequins here, and you can see I used my We Are Memory Keeper, jewel pick, and my liquid glue. For the second card, I just went ahead and glued that light blue, and you can see I used the light blue one with just the white snowflakes on it. And then I decided that I wanted this white frame to have a little bit more, I wanted it to be more interesting. So I pulled out one of my new Catherine Pooler inks. This is the Serene ink. And I just went along the inside of that hexagon and then along the outside of that paper. So I wanted it to feel like you were looking out of out of a snowy window or something. I wanted it to feel cozier. So I have a piece of gold twine that I had in my stash to use to hold those sweaters. The sweaters each have a foam dot on the back. I used a little bit more of one of those snowbanks that I cut out for creating a snowy little scene there, and I'm going to add one of the sentiments that I cut out here. And this is such a sweet sentiment. I wanted a cozy look to go along with this sentiment. And I am going to add some more of those sequins, but this time I'm going to use the silver smooth discs because I chose the paper without the gold or silver detail, so I thought the silver would look nice. I did try those iridescent ones. You can see those in one of my triangle trays. I have a whole bunch of these triangle trays. They're inexpensive and they're great for storing or holding your little dies, or in this case sequins if you want to try out a bunch of different ones. And you can see how well they work. Now the iridescent ones I didn't use because they were a little yellow against the white. The white was very stark compared to those sequins, and I really like the way the silver ones look. So again, I went ahead and added those with my liquid glue and finished off the card. And I had 2 quick cards, and I only did the one stamping and coloring in and die cutting, and basically used I think the only thing I didn't use was the little candy cane. I used all of the other things on these 2 cards. All of the links will be below here so you can check it out, and make sure you check out some of the stuff that is on sale at Scrapbook Pal. That's how we get good deals on the sequins and the extra goodies that we treat ourselves to really finish off our cards. Thanks for watching, friends. Have a creative day.